And hi again, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Sports Talk. Doug Miles and Don Henderson with you as we do this on a Monday afternoon as we kind of wrap up what's going on in spring training. Actually, our team, Don, the Orioles, have wrapped up their spring training. They finished up yesterday, Sunday, against the Minnesota Twins, and they get ready now for the early start this year of the regular season, although the regular season actually started last week in Korea, but the Orioles will start this Thursday at home against the California Angels.
Yeah, we talked about that last week, and in all honesty, I don't understand this starting the season at all different times. Well, I didn't understand going to Korea at the beginning, but it was great for Ohtani because he, from a public relations standpoint, did a great job over there. And for the Orioles to get started, they get started on Thursday. They had a very, very good spring training. You and I talked earlier today. At one point, they were 11-1 or 11-2,
right.
But they just kept winning. They won 101 last year, so they're hoping to duplicate that number. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll get into the Ohtani situation a little bit later on, but a lot going on there, and could be a big mess, or it could be they sweep it under the rug. We'll get into that in a few minutes. But yeah, you're right about the Orioles. Pretty good spring training, even though the records don't mean much there. But you want to play well, and of course, coming off last year, we've talked about it the last 3 weeks of spring training, coming off a great season. Can they match that? And for Orioles fans, they hope to get further in the playoffs because they got knocked out pretty early last year.
Yeah, they were a little surprised. Some of their outstanding young players who are right there on the cusp of coming up or going down. And they're going to give them a couple of shots at AAA. They may wait till June or July or, somewhere in that area to after they get their feet on the ground at AAA and let them move up to the major leagues. The Yankees are doing the same thing. They sent a couple of young players down that were really playing very well in spring training, but had not a lot of experience at the minor league, so they sent them down for a little more seasoning before bringing them up.
Off the field news for the Orioles, longtime owner Peter Angelos, who had been ill for quite a while. He passed away over the weekend. I believe he was 94. The team sent out an email about that. And, of course, the new ownership, which they really sold the team, in effect, several months ago. And they will have a vote. The owners will vote on Wednesday to make that final. So Oriole ownership will be completed Wednesday.
Well, I think it's really great for the people of Baltimore because, first of all, they're going to spend a lot of money. And Camden Yards, was the first of the new generation of stadiums and was really a superior. They spent some money last year, changed the dimensions, especially in left field. But they're going to spend a lot of money now on Camden Yards to update it to what it should be. People will be happy about that. People in Baltimore haven't had a winning team in such a long period of time until last year. They're happy about that. The minor league system, because of the fact that they finished so low for so long, is stocked with very good young players. So they're happy about that. So a lot of good things in Baltimore right now. And from a standpoint of their ball club, of the farm system, and other stadiums. So they're really headed in the right direction.
Yeah, the team sends out emails. I got one today. I don't know if you got yours, Don, about the stadium upgrades like you just mentioned and the different food offerings. Incredible now what they offer in the ballpark. Used to be just hot dogs and, peanuts and Cracker Jack and beer and soda. Now it's all these crazy foods. And old Boog Powell will have his barbecue pit once again. But they got about 10 or 15 different types of restaurants around the ballpark. I guess you got to do that nowadays. You got to keep the fans entertained, when they're not paying attention to the game and have all the different kind of food.
Yeah, the thing was that Angelos was not really happy with spending any money to, give these people an opportunity to set up food stands and so forth. But now it looks like they're going to be like the rest of the ballparks. I mean, you go to Philadelphia, you can almost get a gourmet meal.
Right.
And but that's just not just Philadelphia. That's pretty much, baseball stadiums as you go around. Food has now become a big item, and so it's great to see that the Orioles are they're really on the front page of doing everything now. And as you indicated, they're going to have the vote on Wednesday. They couldn't really be officially a sold team until the owners agreed to accept them. And I think it's just a matter of getting the owners together on Wednesday and having them vote yes, and the new ownership will take over, and they're going to spend some money. They're really going at it head first. So we got to give them a lot of credit.
Yeah, you talk about what ballparks have become. When you go to any kind of game the last 5-10 years, you see people rarely paying attention to what's going on in the field. They're looking at their phone or on the line for food or paying attention to all the crazy little in-between innings or timeout games they play. So it's constant, I guess, attention grabbing going on to these games. I guess you just can't have people watch the game anymore.
Well, not only that, most of the ballparks in the first 2 or 3 sections down below, I mean, they serve the food while the game's going on. You don't have to go anywhere to get it. All you have to do is just order it, and they bring it down to you. And
right.
Yeah, so you see them; they're all having lunch or dinner or whatever it might be. In the early innings of the game, it's really become a big part of baseball now. Is they all almost have special cook chefs and everything. It's really amazing what they do.
And not cheap. I'm talking for the
food. Nothing
deals.
is
Very
cheap
expensive.
today.
Yeah, right.
Nothing is cheap today.
Not
It depends on what ballpark you go to.
No.
Now, it used to be that you go to some of the smaller ballparks and go out to Minnesota or places like that, and the food wouldn't be that expensive. But if you're in Philly or you're in New York or you're in Boston, you're going to pay for the food. You're going to pay for souvenirs. You're going to pay for everything.
We mentioned the season actually started last week with the Dodgers and Padres. If you got up, I believe on the East Coast, you had to get up at 6 a.m. West Coast, if you're a Padre or Dodger fan,
that's
3 a.m.
Yeah.
See those games.
And it was, it was split. They split. Dodgers won the first game 5-2, scoring 4 runs in the 8th inning, and won it easily. But the second game, I can't remember, I think it was 15-10 or something like that. But it was a slugfest. But they split the 2 games, so the Dodgers go back home, start the season now. In the regular season, those 2 games count, so they'll start with 1 win and 1 loss.
Yeah, I know. I think Phil Mushnick, our friend with the New York Post, writes the media column. He mentioned, and I agree with him, because the traditional opening day of baseball used to be, even I remember as a kid, it was always the Reds. Now, they may not have been the only game played that day. I think originally they got the first day by themselves to start the season, but they would always have the first pitch about a half hour before everybody else to start the season.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. They always had the first day by themselves. American Ballpark, they were the ones that, even before that, when it was, Comiskey Park, they always had that first day.
Crosley Field.
Yeah, Crosley Field. Yeah, they always had the first game, but that's all changed now, boy. It's a new generation.
Yeah, it was always nice. I mean, the Reds would kick it off, and you always knew that. It usually started on a Monday. Now the season starts, on last Wednesday, right? And now they start it Thursday every team staggers it now. There's no opening day anymore. One opening day.
Well, what they used to do, and they are still doing in some cases, is you schedule a game for let's say Thursday, and then Friday is an open date, so that if you have a rain out,
right,
or a rain problem, you don't lose that opening day crowd, which you don't want to do. Most ballparks are almost full for opening day, and you don't want to lose that crowd. So they always gave themselves a little space in there. That second day was always an open day, and then the third day would be game number 2.
Yeah.
They don't do that in every ballpark now, but they still do it in some.
Yeah, I mean the dome stadiums, they wouldn't need to do it, but right, yeah, they always keep that open date, particularly up north. If they opens up north, yeah, right. And you're starting the season now in late March. You can still get snow, obviously, anywhere, but particularly Minnesota or even Philly or New York, Boston. I mean, those cities can still get snow or definitely very cold weather. So who knows?
No question about that. You got to anticipate. Then you come from Florida, where it's been nice for almost 6 weeks now, 5 or 6 weeks. If you came in early before camp actually opened, a lot of players do that. They come in before camp opens and work out down here in Florida. But I'll tell you, March and January, February were really not great months down here, as you know. We were in Arizona. You were a little bit better there than we were here in Florida. Yeah. It was a little shaky, the weather early on, in January, February, into March.
We mentioned Ohtani before, the pitcher and also hitter. Not going to be pitching this year, but he is batting. Of course, he's got a lot of off-the-field problems. This story broke the other day. I guess it was Friday that his interpreter, apparently Ohtani, we've had multiple stories now since it broke that Ohtani actually paid his interpreter's gambling debts, and now there's another story that somebody said, well, Ohtani, the money was stolen from him. So he's supposed to meet with the media sometime this afternoon. I haven't seen anything yet as we check on a Monday of him talking. He's not going to say anything, I don't think. But what do you think about this mess? There's got to be more to it than what's going on. How does an interpreter afford to gamble $4.5 million on what they make?
Well, let's be honest about it. They're going to do everything in the world. There's no way they're going to let Ohtani take the bullet here. I mean, no. If you can tell me any interpreter, I don't care who he is going to run up a bill of $4.5 million. I mean, where's the money coming from? I mean, the guy made $600,000 a year as an interpreter. I think it was the number. I believe it was 600,000. Yeah. And they're going to let you run up a bill for $4.5 million? I don't think so.
No bookie, and it was through supposedly an illegal gambling. It wasn't like FanDuel or one of those sites. He may have gambled there too, but most of it was through somebody that's not legit. And bookies do not take that kind of credit. They'll give you for a while, but they're not going to run it up for $4.5 million.
You're exactly right.
I've never met a bookie, but I know that.
they don't have to wait for $4.5 million.
No. So don't you think there's something there? And why would you? And they say it's on soccer. I mean, who bets on soccer?
That's what
much?
Well, as I say, it doesn't make sense that you get $4.5 million in debt when you're an interpreter. I mean, it doesn't. How are they going to trust you for $4.5 million? I don't know any bookie that's going to trust you for $4.5 million. I don't know if they're going to trust you for $100,000, much less $4.5 million. But I don't know. I don't think any way Major League Baseball can allow Ohtani to be involved in this. They've got to say, and the FBI's in now checking it too. It's not just Major League Baseball. They're coming in with their own investigation, but the FBI's in it as well. And they're not the commissioner or who's going to be in charge of the investigation. They can't afford to have Ohtani involved in it. They got to find some way to say, he had a series of other people beside himself betting for $4.5 million.
It had nothing to do with his finances. Somebody, right? Yeah, a misunderstanding.
But even that, how can he? Not only that, but how can he steal $4 million? I mean, how can he?
Right.
I mean, you're gonna be in debt for $4.5 million, and then you're gonna steal it, and nobody's gonna know about it. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
And if they find out that Ohtani was betting, well, they'll say, well, he didn't know the rules, something like that, right? I mean, it'll be something like that. They're not going to suspend him. He's the biggest star baseball has next to Trout.
Right, and he's not gonna, and he's also. He's going to be a situation where they're going to say, well, he didn't bet on baseball or anything like that. He was betting on soccer.
Overseas. Yeah.
And it was, but you have to remember too that they're in California, and there's no betting in California. They don't have
no legalized sports betting. Yeah.
No, that's right. No legalized betting. So that also comes into it. Where do they make all these bets?
Right. Yeah, offshore accounts, on the phone, who knows? But
I don't know.
But
I'm the first. I agree with your first statement. I don't know any. I've known a lot of bookies being in the bar business for a lot of years, as well as doing broadcasting. My two brothers and myself, we owned a bar for years.
Right.
And I want to tell you, you get $100 in debt thereafter. You don't tell me about $4 or $5 million. Tell me about $100. They come get you.
You're not making another bet until you clear that. Right?
That's exactly right. And you can jump to another bookie, but they know that. I mean, and you got to get that money up front.
I know we talked about it the other day. We'd like to know what Pete Rose is thinking about this. What happens if nothing happens to Ohtani and it turns out he was gambling? Pete Rose isn't going to be happy.
Well,
it's the same story.
I had his number for a long time. I don't have it any longer, but I had his number when he was in Vegas.
Yeah, he met him in Vegas about 3 years ago.
Yeah. And he said, "Call you. You want me to be on the show or something? Give me a call." But he never followed through on that. He just, leave your number and I'll call you back. And that was all you got.
Yeah. Well, he's going to have something to say about it if nothing happens to Ohtani. So we'll keep an eye on that. But we'll wrap up just kind of briefly because I know you watched over the weekend, Don, kind of glued to the set, down to the final 16 in the tournament. I guess no real surprises, right, over the weekend? Pretty much true to form?
Well, the first day was a group of major upsets because Kentucky went down. And
right, I mean Saturday, Sunday, though, to get into the next round. Yeah.
Right, and pretty much the favorites won. Purdue had a big win, but I guess we talked about it a little bit last week. The big story of Michigan changing coaches. May got the job from FAU, and he's going to make
a rival of USF. Right, so he jumps out of the
he
AAC.
was only he was only making $1 million plus at FAU, and he's going to make $35 million, I think.
About $5-6 million a year, something like that. Yeah, over 5 years, right?
Yeah. So it's a 5-year deal, right? You're exactly right.
Well, there's also, we'll talk about USF. They were in the NIT. They lost over the weekend, actually yesterday, Sunday, to VCU. So their season is over. But the coach, Ibrahim of the USF, is in the running. They say, you always see these articles of names popping up. It was originally maybe Michigan, but now Louisville. They fired their coach. So we'll have to keep an eye on Louisville now. Will he go there? Because USF is not going to be able to keep him unless they can find money somewhere, which I doubt.
Yeah, well, while you were talking, I went back to look at the contract. It's $19 million in Michigan over 5 years, and he was only making $1 million something, just a shade over $1 million something with some bonuses. But when he was at FAU, so right. You're exactly right. I mean, he made and he had a 10-year contract there. But hey, when
Michigan buying it out, right? Yeah, no question about it. He's got a great deal, and there'll be, as you said, there'll be some other jobs open, and Calipari, they're screaming, but I can't imagine them buying Calipari out because I'm almost sure it's between $30 and $40 million like
to buy him out.
$37 million buyout, something like that.
Yeah, that's somewhat. I don't know the exact numbers. I knew it was somewhere in that neighborhood, and I know Kentucky's got a lot of money, but you're gonna make a buyout for $37 million? I find that hard to believe.
And who are you going to get that's perceived to be better?
Yeah. Well, he just had a tough time the last couple of years. He's won a number of games and national championships and everything else, and but he just had any luck in the NCAA tournament. He got knocked out twice in the first round. And, people in Kentucky don't like that. They go back to Adolph Rupp and never lost.
Right.
So they don't want to lose. So maybe they're gonna pay it off. I don't know, but I'll tell you, May. I'll tell you, he has a very, very good coach at FAU. I mean, he got in the NCAA tournament. He got to the 18, such the Sweet 16, then he got to the 8. He did a great job there over 5 years. I think Michigan got a steal.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah. He did FAU. I mean, really put them on the map. I happened to see them. I was out in Las Vegas in December, and there was a game at where the Golden Knights play, and
right.
They had a game against Arizona, which I was interested in seeing them, and they actually won that game. They beat Arizona in that Saturday afternoon game. So they're a pretty good team. And of course, last year they did well in the Final Four, right?
Yes, he did. And I tell you, Arizona is not only a good team; they're favored to go, deep into the tournament. So I don't know. To me, I think they made a great deal. And he coached at Western Michigan 20 years ago when he first started his career and came out of school. His first job was assistant coach at Western Michigan, and then he went from there and just kept going until finally got the big job at Michigan and the big money, and we got to wish him a lot of luck.
Yeah. See how he does.
I don't know whether Phil Martelli, who of course was a great friend of ours in Philadelphia, coached at LaSalle for so many years, and at St. Joe's, and so unfortunately, I don't know whether Phil's going. I haven't had a chance to talk to Phil, but I would imagine all the assistant coaches are going to go, and Dusty will bring in his own group.
Yeah, they usually like to have their own guys in there, don't they?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And when Phil was at St. Joe, he got them into the final.
We'll keep an eye on that Thursday. They play the next round, so I know you'll be watching that.
You got it.
We got baseball, too, so we'll do another one next week. But, Don, always good talking to you, and we'll keep an eye on opening day baseball, too.
I'll tell you, I'm really looking forward to it. Basketball is great, but baseball, I'm really ready to go with some baseball and get the season started.
Sounds good. Thanks for listening and watching, everybody. We'll see you again next time.